My name is Susanne Herritsch and I'm a project manager at VDM's photovoltaic equipment. Today I want to talk about the ITRPV, the 11th edition, and about the current trends and the future challenges in silicon PV. First of all, I want to give a short introduction of the VDMA. The VDMA is the leading federation of European engineering. It's the largest industry association in Europe. We have more than 3,200 members, which are organized in 36 sector associations. Moreover, we have 11 specialized departments and a lot of different working groups and forums. Our main aim is the representation of interests, services, and network. And we in the sector group photovoltaic equipment are yearly running the ITRPV. So how do we do that? On this slide, you see the methodology and the status. We always consider the whole value chain, starting with the silicon, the crystallization, wafer, cell, module, and system. And in the case of the wafer, the cell, and the module, we always consider materials, processes, and products. We start with the participating companies, and then we do some kind of survey, a questionnaire. The VDMA is responsible for the independent data collection and for the processing. Afterwards, we do a review of the data and prepare a publication. This will be discussed with our regional chairs, which are from China, India, Taiwan, the US, and the EU. And afterwards, we publish the next ITRPV edition. In the 11th edition, we had more than 57 contributors from Asia, Europe, and the US. And on the diagram in the bottom right, you see that we had a lot of material and equipment suppliers, but also we had PV manufacturers, R&D institutes, and consultings. In my presentation, I want to first start with the PV learning curve. Afterwards, I want to show some results from 2019. And in each of these here seen categories, I want to show one selected result. I will finish my talk with an outlook and a summary. So here you see the PV learning curve. This diagram shows the correlation of the average module sales price and the cumulative PV shipments. And if you compare 2018 and 2019, we had an increase of the cumulative PV shipments, which went along with a decrease in the price. So we can say what we learned from the last years is continued in this year as well. If we compare the monosilicon and the multicrystalline silicon, we can see that in both cases, the price reduction continues. And if we have a closer look to the world market share, we can say that the monosilicon share increased and it's now dominating. Today we have a share of 65 to 35 when we consider monosilicon to multicrystalline silicon share, and this trend is an ongoing trend in the next decade. A big topic within the ITRPV was the wafer size development. Here you can see the two trends for the multicrystalline and for the monosilicon wafer size. And we see that several new formats appear on the market. And if you have a closer look to the right diagram, you see that the mono will fast use larger formats. The M2, which was the mainstream in the last years, is completely disappearing within the next years up to 2024. G1 and M4 will keep the share. This is possible because existing tools can be used for that. But in the next decade, M6 up to M12 formats will dominate, and therefore new tools with new fabs are required. So we can say that new module formats are flooding the market, and the standardization for the machine and plant engineers is required. If we go to the results to the cell product, here we can see the world market share of different cell technologies. The BASF will disappear after 2024. The PERC technology will stay the PV working horse. It will be the mainstream in the coming years. And also the silicon heterojunction will increase the market share at above 15% in 2030. And when you consider that PERC and silicon heterojunction are already ready for bifacial, you can see here on the bottom that the bifacial cells will gain market share, and the bifacial cells will be at about 80% in 2030. If we have a closer look to the product in the module category, we see here the world market share of different cell dimensions. The half cell share will increase, the full cell decrease, and other formats and sizes are diversifying as well. Last but not least, we see the system components. We see that the power plant installation stays the core application. The rooftop share will stay stable, and we have the niches of the floating PV and the building integrated. Here you can see the last slide. You see different calculated scenarios for PV today and in future. There are several 100 gigawatt markets ahead, and they can be served on today's PV technologies. And what we learned out of the ITRPV is that the PV learning curve continues, but the PV market will remain volatile, especially in Corona season. The ITRPV will provide also in future guidance to handle the PV challenges. And with this, I want to thank you for your attention.
Perfect. Thank you very much for this presentation. I know it's extremely difficult in 7 minutes to summarize, I would say, the richness of the ITRPV report, but I think you did a good job with that.